Okay, so I'm presenting you this project over here that is the restoration, or at least the preservation of these columns. Let's call them preservation better because we're not going to restore them. And this is what's going on, or what was going on. A lot of the paint was peeling off, and we decided to obviously first clean the entire thing with some bleach and some cleaners, all the structures that we're going to clean and all the areas that we're going to fix. Then after that, we're going to apply some caulking and some paste, so painter's putty, to be able to fill the little cracks. You can get them at the home improvement store as well. That's designed for exteriors. Also, you can use silicone or caulk, paintable silicone or caulk, to be able to caulk the areas where water can be penetrating in. Now, once that thing is done, you gotta be careful with this. In old houses like this one, you have the chance to have lead-based paint. You gotta be careful with that and read all the instructions, cover yourself really well. In this case, we didn't use no sanding. We just scraped whatever was loose and collect it really well and dispose it properly. You have to see how you can dispose it properly. Be careful with that. Do not sand these things if you're in presence of kids or around where the kids will be playing. And don't leave no chips around because they're really dangerous for them. There's a lot of studies that can suggest that. Now, after we put all the caulking on this place, on these little gaps and all these areas, we're going to use an oil-based primer. So I have the oil-based primer over here. This is good for stain blocks and all the stuff, in the case that you have some stains or so. But we're going to use some stain killer primer. We're going to let it dry, and we're going to use an oil-based paint. So that is what we're going to do in this process. So again, clean it really well, scrape whatever you don't need. It's really loose. Be careful with that when you're scraping it or sanding it or whatever you want to do. Fill up the little gaps before, primer, and then the paint. Okay, so that's how we continue. Okay, now we are continuing with the the caulking. We already put the caulk around the stain and the little putty. Some of the wood putty that you can use in these places, they can actually reconstruct a chip of something that is not is not right. But in this case, we're using the caulk because my client wants to see all these grooves and maintain all that old looking aspect of the columns. The house is already a little over 100 years old, and that's how they want it, to be shown. So, okay, we went with the caulking, and then now we applied the oil-based primer, the stain killer oil-based primer. We're gonna let it dry, and then we continue with the oil-based paint. All right, this is the last part of the project. The columns were painted with the oil-based or alkaline-based paint. They are nice, just white, and as you can see, it still has all the little elements of the old, looking type of column. But it's very important to remember to protect yourself when you're scraping this thing or sanding it. If you want to sand it down to a little more smooth finish, protect the areas, pick up as much of that dust as possible. Keep your kids and elders and everybody away from that because they will inhale that stuff and it's toxic. And just make sure that if you are working outside, like in this case, make sure that the weather is fine for you to keep it nice and dry while it dries. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.